Hello everyone. So today we're gonna react to Fwankie again. Oh, he always brightens my day. He says that these 5 foods will benefit your diet somehow, but he doesn't really say how. Let's just get right into this, shall we?
What's up? How are you guys today? We're going to touch on a few foods that you can incorporate into your diet to improve the overall quality. And I think a year and a half ago, we made a video on why organic is important, explaining the rules and regulations that the USDA has in order to grow organic produce. And it basically removes a lot of the negative chemicals. I refer to them as agrochemicals, herbicides, pesticides, fungicides, insecticides, glyphosate, all the stuff they normally.
Has he actually fully gone through puberty? Like, fully? Like, he sounds like a 14-year-old. I'm sorry, but with the voice cracking all the time?
Normally spray on the conventional food. That is not allowed when growing organic. Of course, there's still some exceptions and some negative things that can be used, but if your diet isn't already 100% organic, then you can make a lot of improvements. We did another video on meat marketing and explaining why organic meat isn't necessarily the best and that you have to go for quality, but what we're focusing on today is...
I watched a video from Carnivore Lion. I think I've been subscribed off and on, but I subscribed again, and he said he got sick eating raw. I think when it comes to that, you want to eat grass-fed, pasture-raised. You don't want to eat pork either. Do not eat pork. And you don't want to eat, you definitely don't want to eat meat from the stores. That's not what you want to go for if you're going to eat it raw. I would say you want to get it from a trustworthy source.
You know, you might be having some organic foods, but there's still downsides with those and homemade alternatives that you can do to mainly reduce the amount of fluoride and toxins that are typically in low quality water, as well as increase the freshness and reduce the histamine content of the foods. So let's get a little closer and show you guys some changes I've made recently and over the past few months.
How are these benefiting us though, Fwankie? Honest question.
Okay, so I guess we'll start with breakfast and work our way to dinner with steel-cut oats. And the alternatives to this would be
Carbs! Carbs, carbs, carbs. He's all about them carbs. About them carbs. Ooh, Fwankie. He's... So, yeah, right away with the carbs. Carbs, carbs, carbs. He always inspires me to make new quirks. I love being quirky. That's my nature, actually. If you really got to know me, I'm very quirky, okay? Very quirky. My quirks are different for different people, but yeah, I am very quirky. That was a new thing. That came to me just today, actually. I tried to react the first time, and I'm like, wait, this sounds kind of clippy. I think I'll redo it. Hopefully this one doesn't sound too bad. I apologize. I don't want to have to redo it again. So if I'm clippy still, sorry guys.
You know, maybe some old-fashioned oats that I actually have in my cabinet over here that are processed a little bit differently. You might have some quick oats, which I actually have over here too, like some of the instant oatmeals. And even though all of these things are organic, there's a lot of downsides. So what's not so bad is these rolled oats. And what they do is they steam these and they press them and they are heated. The concern is that, you know, the oats are in contact with a lot more machinery, and, you know, the cleaning chemicals and stuff they use on that machinery can maybe...
How do they benefit us, Fwankie? How do they benefit us? You haven't said that. I can hear Bart now saying, in what way do these benefit? Are you ever going to touch on that? I can only really do an Aussie accent. Close enough. Sorry, Bart.
Get on the oats, and also the water they're using to clean the machines and the water they're using to steam.
Now I'm hearing... Right after that. Are you ever going to touch on that?
Overall, something like rolled oats or quick oats or even these instant oats have that downside, whereas the steel-cut oats are almost in a more raw form, and then you can use your own water and your own cooking methods that
So more anti-nutrients. Got it.
you know are not tainted by negative chemicals. And then, of course, the instant oats also...
Listen to that beautiful plastic. Listen to it. Oh, the sound of plastic. I mean, yes, I know meat comes in plastic or foam as well, but... Ay, ay, ay. Everything he has here comes in plastic, I think. Most of it. I think there's only one thing he mentions that has, like, that's in a glass. I don't know, Fwankie boy.
We'll have some additional flavorings and other things that aren't necessarily required to be organic and can kind of skip by the USDA in that regard. So, we did the overnight oats recipe like a month or two ago now, and these actually taste a lot better. So, if you're not doing this and like you're spending, $5 or $10 a day or something crazy on glass bottled mineral water, or you're getting well water, you just want to make sure that, when you're investing so much time and money into other aspects of your diet.
Do you know how much cheaper ground beef, like high-fat ground beef, a little cheese, and some butter would be? You know how cheap that is? Holy crap. So much cheaper. Fwankie. If you're gonna do a diet to improve your health, you need to do it right. You weren't doing carnivore right. I think you were letting the influencers get to you when you really should have been listening to yourself. And eating from lead, by the way, is not going to help anything, by the way. So, yeah, there's that. I realized some of my issues were because I was eating with and using lead-laden products. Some bowls that I had in my cupboard, they were cereal bowls. But they were made, I think, in probably 2002, 2003. I don't know how long ago we had them, but they have lead in them. We're pretty sure they have lead in them. I was drinking from lead cups as well. There's one mug, I think, that does still have lead paint in them. As a result, I only keep it because it is a souvenir from a wildlife place I went to. So I will keep it as a souvenir. But this lead-laden silverware, lead-laden bowls and plates, that helped me so much. I used to have so much nausea every day, all the time, periodically. I felt horrible. I think I've finally detoxed the lead out of my body. It's been a year, I think. I've been carnivore for about the same amount of time, or at least fiber-free for about the same amount of time, and my lead symptoms and I had a lot of symptoms. I had tingling, I had nausea, I had all these weird symptoms that they say are lead poisoning, and I got rid of that, and now I think I started noticing some differences after a couple of months, but I feel so much better. So Fwankie, you really don't want to be using anything lead related because you're going to get sicker and sicker and nothing you do will help. And by the way, like I stated before, activated charcoal is for ODing. You're not ODing on anything. Actually, you are ODing on anti-nutrients, but you're also taking out nutrients when you take activated charcoal, so there's that.
That you don't overlook something like that, because it's kind of silly to almost throw everything out the window unless you're intentionally doing it by having like a cheat meal. So then for lunch,
what's a cheat meal with you? Non-organic, I guess.
I'll usually make my own homemade bread. Here we just have a
carbs. So you already advertised grains, and now you're advertising more grains. All about them carbs. About them carbs. Oh, Fwankie, he's all about them carbs.
Regular organic white flour that is recently milled, because flour is like oats too. It starts as like a seed. They call it the wheat berry, and then it's ground up into flour. If you're buying store-bought bread, then usually there's additives and
I can't get behind this. I can't.
preservatives in it. So that's the main downside. There can also be different types of synthetic vitamin fortifications, especially iron fortification and B vitamins, which are very, very bad for your liver and make the bread, almost unhealthy.
Yeah, I'm not for fortification either. I should know because it just seems, it makes it more unnatural.
Healthy regardless of how high quality the flour is or what the fermentation was. So you're avoiding vegetable seed oils, synthetic vitamins, preservatives, and then the bread usually isn't that fresh.
Now, the synthetic version is still the plant version anyway, too. So you're not getting any heme iron out of. You need heme iron, guys. Even you, Fwankie. And the lower cholesterol foods that you eat, Fwankie, the worse your hemochromatosis will get, assuming that's what you have. You're going to damage your liver more that way because your body can't make cholesterol just from carbs. You have to eat lots and lots and lots of fat. And in fact, I keep hearing over and over again from different people that cholesterol binds to the toxins and helps move it out. But if you don't have the proper formation of your cholesterol, it's not going to do it. And it's just going to get stuck. And that's how you get a blockage. That's the very lame, I'm probably like a 2-year-old learning to talk. I probably sound like that to Bart. But that's basically what I get out of it. That's my understanding of it. Yeah, so your cholesterol clots an area when things aren't, forming right and moving through properly, and it's trying to block impurities from getting through, right? With a higher cholesterol diet, not as many impurities can pass through easily. So the cholesterol just lets everything, it's able to move everything through with ease. But this is anyway, I don't know if I'm probably saying it wrong. Anyways, so you can't do it this way, Fwankie.
On top of all of that, it's very, very difficult to find a bakery that actually uses high quality organic flour. And then when you're able to use your own mineral water or filtered water at home, you're not getting a giant dose of fluoride with all of these breads. Regardless of, even if it's like bread alone, sourdough bread, which is a pretty good brand we have here in New York, that's naturally fermented. The only ingredients are flour, salt, and water. They're still using fluoridated tap water, probably.
You're forgetting the yeast part, because you have to use fungus to ferment. So, yeah.
They make the bread. So regardless of how good the bread is made, if you're buying it somewhere else, you still have a water concern, so you kind of have to make it yourself. We did a few recipes on bread over the past few months as well, but that's another major improvement that I've done to my diet to just reduce that water concern.
Where are the benefits? I'm waiting.
And then for dinner, we have the next three things. So instead of having canned beans, like these organic butter beans here, I started buying the raw organic cannellini beans.
I'm going to let you sit on that for a moment. Organic, raw cannellini beans. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? The day that he makes them wrong? Oh, and he doesn't even mention that he pours it off or anything. I watched this through once and he doesn't even mention that he pours the water off. Maybe he does, and I don't know. He mentions he only soaks them overnight. I don't know. I don't know how long would be better. I don't think that's enough time. I really don't think that's enough time. Ooh. Eesh. See, this is what I mean. People sometimes think, oh, you don't want us around, you want us to die. I haven't had those comments yet, thank goodness. But no, we don't want you to die. We want you to stop preparing things wrong and saying the wrong things that you know are not benefiting you in any way. Anyways, so there's no point saying them.
And similar concerns that I've said about the past two things. What type of water are they using to cook the beans with? What type of water is in this can? Are they cooking it in the can? what chemicals and toxins are in the can lining. Is there a histamine concern that, how old are the beans? Is that causing digestive issues? There's so many negative things. Is it so heated that the beans have broken down and they're not as effective for digestion? It's not as good for you?
No plant product is good for you in high amounts. None. In fact, beans I would never eat like this. Am I being hypocritical because the cocoa beans are a bean? A little. But there's more of a process to making cocoa. You don't even eat the shell and stuff. There's a whole process before it's even made into chocolate. So there's that. And I just have the powder now. This is different. Like, you're taking the raw original bean, soaking them, then probably cooking them or boiling them or whatever, and using them. There's a huge process making cocoa beans into chocolate. This is insane to me.
It's really hard to justify having a food like this or buying store-bought bread every day or having quick oats every meal. Look, it's okay if like once in a while, once a month, a few times a month that you don't have time and you use something like this or the quick oats. But if you're going to have a food in your diet consistently every day like I do, you want to make sure it's as high quality as possible. So what I do is we do have these beans on my Amazon shop as well as most of this other stuff, and we should have the rest of the stuff on Fwankie's Free Range Foods. But I'll soak these overnight in bottled water.
Listen to that plastic. You hear that? You hear all that plastic? Beautiful, isn't it?
Water, and then I'll cook them in the Instant Pot the next day for just an hour. So I know they're super fresh. They haven't been in touch with too many negative surfaces. Obviously, you can't always get past the packaging they come.
Wait, can I go back a little bit?
Fwankie's Free Range Foods, but I'll soak these overnight in bottled water, and then I'll cook them in the Instant Pot the next day for just an hour. So I know they're super fresh.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like they need to be soaked a lot longer. And how long does he sleep at night? Because if you soak them over, and how long does he soak them for? He didn't really specifically say. 8 hours, 12 hours, 24 hours? Definitely not 48 hours. He didn't really say soak them for a day. He said soak them overnight, so I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
They haven't been in touch with too many negative surfaces. Obviously, you can't always get past the packaging they come in, and they're very fresh, so minimal cooking time. And these noodles, I guess the main thing to touch on.
Carbs, 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 carbs. Sorry.
Is that most pasta, durum wheat, all the noodles you're eating, it's not that great for the liver. These are the least inflammatory.
None of them are good for the liver. None of them. None. He's just like a vegan. You know how the vegans are always like, my gut problems stopped once I added in this food. They really think that this kind of, carnivores are not doing this. Not as often anyway. You don't see carnivore people. Carnivore Lion had to, change something up a little bit. But you don't really see this as much with carnivores. My gut problems never fully went away till I started including this or took away that. You don't see that as much with carnivores. Okay, you don't see that as much. You don't. This is insane.
Inflammatory noodles I have found. So when you're looking through pasta, all that stuff, this is made from, I don't think it even says it on here. Yeah, because it just says organic wheat flour and water. But you can tell by the color and the taste of these noodles that this is whole red winter wheat, which is basically just regular white flour.
Ugh. Ugh. Gross. Look, I can't even do multi-grain bread or whole grain bread. Blech.
So it's basically a clean slate of noodles that I can add like my bean sauce to and some more fiber to. I mean, to sum it up quickly, I was eating all these other pastas, which wasn't actually allowing me to detox my liver because of certain negative things in them.
You're still not detoxing it. Fwankie, if you still want to eat pasta, Make zucchini noodles. Spaghetti squash. What happened to veggies? You don't have to eat greens. Peel and take the seeds out. Eat some cucumbers, peppers, tomatoes, celery, maybe even some carrots in your case. Cut the seed parts off. Peel the skins. Guys, you gotta peel them. You gotta peel them. Don't eat the skins ever. I don't care what they say. Stop eating the skins. But they're new potatoes. They're new potatoes. That's my mom's excuse. No. Just no, stop eating the skins. Guys. Always peel them. You eat peeled apples, right? Fwankie? So, yeah, just I can't. Like, dude, why don't you eat veggies? Why all these grains? Why all these grains? Because you know veggies aren't good for you. That's probably why. But do you think diarrhea is the better alternative?
So if you guys do want to have noodles in your diet, for me, this is the only real option. And the lesson to learn here is
Pickles! What about pickles? You're all about fermenting things. Make pickled veggies.
really pay attention to how you react after you eat the food. At first I thought, the pasta was an okay carbohydrate for me to have, but, sometimes I would get headaches after eating it and I'd almost always have to lay down.
That is hyperglycemia. Because then it's starting to go down after a while because you're having a super, super high blood sugar. And then the headaches are because it's hyperglycemia. You have hyperglycemia, Fwankie.
I was so tired. So pay attention, and then if you do notice a problem like that.
I have the same problem, Fwankie. When I eat too much sugar, when I eat too much carbs, I have the same problem. And I'm only 26. So that's not a liver thing. That's a too much sugar thing.
Try to look into, what is the entire composition of this wheat? Is there a vitamin? Is there a chemical? Is there an anti-nutrient or something in it that I'm getting too much of? So very important to keep in mind. So the last thing to touch on is this artichoke spread. And you guys have seen we've done the whole artichokes as well to put in my pasta sauce. We should have this on Frankie's Free Range Foods this week if you guys want to get your hands on it, because you can't really buy it anywhere, as it is one of the highest quality jarred products I've come across. It's organic, it's in glass, and
I've said this once and I'll say it again, but I also have something else I want to add. He purely left carnivore to justify. He's using his toxic liver excuse to justify eating carbs and alcohol and taking pills. You don't eat alcohol, but anyway, I mean you can, because it's, in fermented things, but I digress. He's also doing this because he realized, dude, if I'm going to want to sell something, I'm going to have to know what it's like as well. So I may as well quit carnivore, because how am I going to be able to sell if I can't taste the product for myself?
it has no preservatives in it. It's just artichokes, some olive oil, and some seasonings. And that's very significant compared to, something like this, or a regular jarred artichoke product is going to have just water, citric acid, a lot of negative things. And plus, this tastes a whole lot better. So for the most part, any sort of canned or jarred product, you can use.
I can't eat a whole lot of acidic things anyway. I can't eat a whole lot of it because I get canker sores. I don't know how people drink lemon water every day. That's even more acidic to my mouth than kombucha ever was. Kombucha never did that to me. Lemon water did. And does.
Usually find a very, very high quality alternative, but you might have to spend a little bit more. And that's the difference between something that you don't really want to have in your diet that frequently versus something you can have every day on a consistent basis. Yeah, so these are some relatively recent changes I've made in my diet to increase the overall quality, and we should be getting a hair mineral analysis in a few weeks, so I guess we can check if my arsenic intake has lowered, or mercury, or if any of the toxic metals have gone down slightly, but I have been feeling a bit better, and that's the main metric to go by. So
you also want to get rid of lead though, Fwankie. I bet you your lead is skyrocketed because I'm sure you eat from lead plates and bowls. If not, I'll be surprised. And drink from lead cups.
We do have a few of these on my Amazon shop, and as I've said several times, we should have this jarred stuff on Frankie's Free Range Foods relatively soon, so I'll probably announce that in a different video. But as always, thank you guys for joining me. You can go to Frank.
All right, so there's that. Yeah, so that's Fwankie. I'm not subscribed. I don't want to support him with that. I don't sign up as a member. I've never done that, never will. But yeah, so Fwankie, he did it again. This time though, he failed miserably. 5 foods that will benefit your diet, but how? Or that will improve your diet, I think. Wait. 5 foods that you need to improve your diet. How will they improve it? They're not really any different from the diet. You're not eating a diet any different from before, so I don't see it. Anyway, guys, I will talk to you guys later. So, bye.